It's always a good day when I get a delivery from Limited Run Games, and it's always worth the wait when the games finally arrive. And in today's episode we have not one, not two, not three, but 4 deliveries to unbox, and a game I've been trying to get my hands on for 4 years.
Get Rush Trips!
Hello again, folks, and welcome back to a very special pickups episode. As that's right, today we have not one, not two, not three, but 4 deliveries from Limited Run Games. And if you have ever bought a game from Limited Run Games, you'll know it's all about patience and it's all about the waiting game. And especially in my case, because I normally bundle so many of these games together, you have to wait for every single game to be ready before your order ships. And today I have 4 deliveries to unbox for you folks. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, just like this one, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's get unboxing. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, I'm sure you'll know all about Limited Run Games, and they do exactly that. Limited physical runs of games which are normally only available digitally, but here's the thing, they're normally only released in a 4 to 6 week window, so you have that time to order the game and then it's gone. And the price of these games normally jump up after that window has closed. Now, because these games ship from America, I normally bundle a few of these games together, and you have to wait for every game in your order to be ready for the games to be shipped to you. So normally I have to wait ages for these games to come. It's normally about 6 months, but it's normally longer because I bundle these together. And spoiler alert, we also have some collector's editions in here. But Limited Run deliveries are just like buses. You wait for 1 to come along and then 4 come along at once. I have waited long enough for these games to turn up, then let's jump into our first box. And honestly, with a lot of these games, I don't actually remember what's in these boxes. I ordered them so long ago, I genuinely forget, but straight away I can remember this one. Now, it's not until recently that Limited Run Games have been releasing games for the Xbox One, and so far I've ordered every single one of these Xbox One games that Limited Run has released, except one that I missed. So we have a couple more in here. So first off, we have an absolute bona fide classic, Day of the Tentacle Remastered. Now yes, this game was actually on Games Pass fairly recently, but I think this one has been taken off Games Pass, because at the end of the day, kind of get used to not owning your games if you own them on a digital platform, because they can be taken away at any time. And this is what I love about Limited Run Games. It's all about preservation, and this is a classic which I want to be able to play whenever I want. Now here is the thing with Limited Run Games. Sometimes you don't get your games in order. Now this was the very first game, Limited Run number 1, that they released for the OG Xbox. It is Doom 64, and again, this game was on Games Pass for a while. I'm not sure if it's still on there now, because obviously now Xbox do own Bethesda and their entire library, but this is honestly one of my favourite Doom games. I never really enjoyed this back on the N64. I think I replayed it because it was on Games Pass, and honestly it's a really solid game and a brilliant start to the Xbox library through Limited Run Games. And continuing on the theme of Doom, it honestly amazes me that this game could be released on the Nintendo Switch. It is the physical release for Doom Eternal on the Nintendo Switch, and I am a big fan of this game, and honestly it kind of blows me away that this game can run on the Switch, and this was the only way to get a physical copy of this game. And as a physical game collector, I had to have this for my Nintendo Switch so I can rip and tear anywhere and anytime I want. Finally, for our first delivery, we have a game which I have wanted for the longest time from Limited Run Games. Now unfortunately I missed this game when they pressed it for the Nintendo Switch, so as soon as I saw they'd announced it again, I had to pick up for the PlayStation 5 the cult classic that is Night Trap. Yes, the incredible 90s FMV thriller game Night Trap. It is an absolute classic. Now, I actually own the OG version of this on the Mega CD, but this has the remastered and incredibly less grainy, I presume, FMV. And honestly, if you're looking for some cheesy, corny fun, you can't do wrong picking up Night Trap. I'm really excited to grab a few mates, a few drinks, and bust through this one. If you've been collecting Limited Run games for a while, you will know that they normally come with trading cards. Now, unfortunately, in about the middle of 2023, Limited Run decided they are no longer putting trading cards with their games for the simple reason that it makes it longer. You have to wait for your games to be delivered. So these could be some of the last trading cards I ever get from Limited Run. And we have one for all of the games we have there. So first off, we have the silver card from Night Trap. So you actually either get a silver or a gold. Gold obviously being rarer. Then we have a silver card for Day of the Tentacle. A silver card for Doom 64. And what are the chances? Can you believe the luck? A silver card for Doom Eternal. I am pretty sad that they're stopping making these trading cards, as honestly I am a sucker for anything trading card based, and these will be sorely missed. So I'm just trying to grab as many as I can for the games I own while I can. First delivery down, let's jump straight into our next one. And this is the thing, it's like Christmas Day here. I forget what most of these deliveries are, and everyone is a surprise. So jumping into this one, yes. I remember I knew I had to buy this game as soon as it was announced through Limited Run Games. That's because the first game in this series got super expensive, as do a lot of the Limited Run games, but this one got stupidly expensive. And I can get a hold of a copy of this game for the longest time just because of that expense. I was lucky enough to be gifted a copy of this game from my wife for my birthday a couple of years ago. I absolutely loved the first game. It's one of my favourite kind of co-op beating up games. So as soon as I saw them announce River City Girls 2, I knew I needed to pick up a copy as soon as possible. This is one of the best co-op side-scrolling beat-em-up games I've ever played, and I had to have a physical copy of this game. But even better, Limited Run Games released this incredible looking slipcase. And here is the thing, with this slipcase, inside you can fit River City Girls 2 and River City Girls 0, and here's the best part, I have a physical copy of every game so we can fill this sleeve. Here we are then, let's put the Infinity Stones all together. So far we have River City Girls 2 inside the sleeve, and I have the OG pressing from Limited Run Games of River City Girls. But then also, I have waited the longest time to open this game, River City Girls 0. So I bought the kind of next step up collector's edition of this game, and I have waited until now to open this because I knew I was getting this slipcase. And here's the thing, like, these collector's editions are incredibly hard to get into, so I'll cut back when I've got some scissors. We're back then with a pair of scissors so I can get into this game. So normally when Limited Run Games release a game, they will do like the standard version of the game, a kind of special edition, which is what we have here for River City Girls 0, and then a collector's edition, which are normally, the standard edition is about $40, this kind of special edition around $70, and sometimes the collectors can be $150. So let's jump into this one. I just love the fact it has the kind of classic SNES style cardboard packaging, looks super cool. And inside we do, of course, have a copy of the game, but also in here we have an incredibly huge poster, which I'm never going to unfurl because I'll never get it back together. But main reason I wanted to pick up this special edition, the soundtrack, because if you've played this game, you'll know the soundtrack is gold. But here is the most satisfying part, finally being able to put together the trilogy of River City Girls games into this slipcase. And for me, this was a little bit of a kind of collection goal. I absolutely love the River City Girls games, and I had to complete the Infinity Gauntlet that is this trilogy box set. And honestly, it is a thing of absolute beauty. It's taken me years to complete this, and I'm super happy to cross this one off my list. But wait, there's more. That is not all the River City Girls games we have in this delivery. We do, of course, have River City Girls 2 for the Xbox One. That's because, like I said earlier in the video, I'm going for the complete Xbox One Limited Run Games release catalogue. So I had to pick this one up. And this is probably the version of the game. Actually, I don't know. I will probably play River City Girls 2 on a Switch just because, honestly, it is perfect for that kind of pick up and go capability of the Switch. To be like on the bus for like half an hour, on the train, or just anywhere. Just that little kind of jump in and play mechanic is definitely what River City Girls 2 is all about. But I had to have this one for my Xbox collection. We have one more game though hiding in the bottom of this box, and it's a game which I wasn't really sure about. But this is the thing. With Limited Run Games, you either take the chance or you miss the chance. If I ever have a passing interest in any of these games, I will pick them up because honestly, At the end of the day, if you don't enjoy the game, with limited run games, you can probably sell the game for more than you paid for it. It's not really the spirit of things, but at the end of the day, I keep the games if I enjoy them. If not, I can always sell them on. So I took a chance with this one, the Shadowrun trilogy. Now, I think this was like described as like a cyberpunk kind of real-time strategy, very much like kind of the original Fallout games. So I was intrigued. I picked this one up, but let me know if you've played the Shadowrun trilogy in the comments down below. Finally, we do have some cards, but no card for Shadowrun Trilogy because that wasn't released through limited run games. So we just have 2 cards for River City Girls 2. And once again, can you believe the luck? We have 2 silver cards, but it's better to have silver than no cards at all. Let's get into our third delivery, and as we go through these deliveries, the boxes only get bigger, which means only one thing is either going to be a collector's or a special edition in this box. And diving in straight away, it always blows me away how well limited run games package their games. And on the top here is a game which I genuinely never believed would get a physical release. This time on the Nintendo Switch, Postal Redux. So this is a remake of the very first Postal game, and I remember when this game first came out and it caused absolute uproar because it's literally a game about going postal, just about murdering as many people as physically possible. It's a fantastic top-down shooting game, much in the kind of way that kind of the original GTA was, and this is an absolutely iconic game, and I can't think of a better way to play this than on a Nintendo Switch. The next game in this delivery is somewhat of a gamble. I saw the trailer for this one and thought it looked super cool. I'm a massive fan of kind of shmup games, so I wanted to pick this one up for the Nintendo Switch once again, Exeus. This looks really, really cool. It's the Exeus Complete Collection. I think there's 2 or 3 games on here. It's not a game series I'm familiar with, but just judging by the gameplay, this looks super, super cool. And honestly, again, I think the best way to play a lot of these shmup games is on the Nintendo Switch. So let me know if you've played this one down in the comments down below. I'm really looking forward to jumping into this one. We do have a trading card in this delivery, and I'm going to put it to one side because it is of course a spoiler as to what comes next. Is our final game in this box. It is a special edition, and it is a super cool version of a super cool game. One of my favourite games, which was released on the N64 and the PlayStation 1 and recently got remastered. And again, this is the only way to get a physical copy of this, Shadow Man Remastered. This is a thing of absolute beauty. Once again, in the kind of cool N64 looking box. I actually got a box protector for this one, and I was stoked. As soon as I saw they were remastering this game, I knew I had to play it. This game was so ahead of its time when it came out. Like, the graphics were so good, but it was just held back by the limitations of, honestly, both the N64 and the PlayStation 1. And once again, it's proven these collector's editions are super difficult to get into. I was trying to open this while talking, but we will get into this one. Thankfully, I do have my trusty scissors here, so you can see what's inside this one. Now, I know a lot of people don't open the limited run games, which I find kind of crazy because at the end of the day, yes, these games do hold a lot of value, but I'm picking these games up because these are games I want to play. Because with most of these games from limited run games, this is the only way to pick up a physical copy of these games. And as a physical collector, I want to have these games in my collection. Honestly, I just take back how this one looks so good. And let's jump into it. And it's absolutely stacked. The box actually feels like it's bursting from the seams. There's so much stuff in here. So straight away, we'll try and get something out of here. So of course, most importantly, we do have a physical copy of the game for the Nintendo Switch, which is always a bonus. But I'll say that for a minute. That bit's super cool. We again have a pretty hefty map, or I think this is a map and a poster, which I'll never unfurl because I can never get those back together. We do have, again, a soundtrack for the game. But the coolest thing about this one, the main reason I wanted to pick this up, is a non-functioning but still super cool looking kind of N64 cartridge. Yes, it's unfunctioning. Yes, it's just for display, but it's still super, super cool. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, of course, I did get a trading card with Shadow Man, and yes, of course, once again, it is a silver. Here we go then, our final delivery, and yes, I do know what is inside this box, because this is a game which I've waited 4 years to pick up. As such, because the thing is, I already own a copy of this game, But this was the very first game I ever bought from Limited Run Games. When I first bought the game, I only bought the standard edition of the game, and I absolutely love this game. And recently, over Christmas, Limited Run had a last chance sale on a lot of their games, which they're releasing for the very final time. These were the last copies that existed of these games, and I wanted to pick up this special edition of this game. Now, this was all about the waiting game. With this sale, it went on over, I think it was 5 days, and every day they dropped the price by 10%. And I waited until the last day of the sale to pick up this game because I wanted to get the collector's edition for the cheapest price possible. This is the limited edition, collector's edition of Star Wars Racer Revenge. This was the very first game that I ever bought from Limited Run Games back in 2020 because I just loved the Star Wars Racer games. They were so good. They were the best thing about the episode 1 films was those pod racing sections. They were so good. But at the time, I think the standard game was about $30, and I think this collector's edition was about $18. So this time I did manage to get this to this country for about £40 shipped. So it was just kind of a no-brainer. I'm a massive Star Wars fan, a massive fan of Limited Run Games. I really wanted to get this collector's edition, and I'm very glad I've left my scissors here to open this one up, as that's exactly what we're doing right now, because I am a big fan of unboxing and playing my games. And let's just take a moment before we jump in. The artwork and the quality of this case is kind of embossed. It looks super cool. They've done this for all of the Star Wars games they've released. I have since ordered some more of these. One day I'd love to have the full set of Limited Run Star Wars games, but like I said, these games are getting expensive. So let's unbox this one so you can see what you get for that extra bit of money. And the main thing I can feel here is the quality. Oh my god, I'm actually kind of taken back by how cool this one is. So straight out of the box, you have the limited collector's edition certificate of authenticity. So it's 2,500 copies of this game in the world, and I have one of them. And this is so cool. Like, look, this is how you do a collector's edition of a game. How cool is that? You can see there the collectible coin, the pod racer pin, and of course a copy of the game for the PlayStation 4. And hiding behind the game, if I can pull that out, oh, we have the Star Wars Racer Revenge Steelbook. And again, what a thing of absolute beauty. And when it comes to the limited run steelbooks, you can only get these steelbooks with the collector's edition, and that, my friends, is a very, very good looking steelbook, and I will definitely be adding that one to the shelf. And even more, under that we have, of course, the poster, which will never get unfurled, as well as some collector's cards for like a $70 collector's edition. I think this one is really, really good, and honestly good value for money. And if nothing else, that steelbook is incredible. But here is the thing, folks. I know limited run games are not for everyone. They definitely cater to physical collectors like myself. At the end of the day, if you want to play most of these games, yes, of course, you can get them super cheap digitally, especially with sales. A lot of these games go for 75 or even 90% off in the sales. But for me, as a collector, it's all about preservation. And this is something that I genuinely believe Limited Run do lovingly. They are all about preserving games and giving collectors like myself perhaps a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to add some of these games to their collection physically. Not just because sometimes it is the only time these games are released physically. Sometimes, especially when they kind of re-release older games, these older games would be so much more expensive to buy the original hardware. A perfect example, they've got Rocket Knight Adventures coming up soon for the Nintendo Switch. An original copy of that game for the Mega Drive is super expensive, and especially with some of the collections they've done, sometimes it's just a cheaper way to own a physical copy of the game and to be able to still play the game, which, honestly, at the end of the day, regardless of how you do it, it's all about playing the game. There we have it then, folks. We have a veritable pile of limited run games to add to my ever-growing game collection. And if nothing else, shopping with limited run games has taught me the importance of patience. I am most of the time at no means a patient man, but when it comes to limited run, you have no choice but to be patient. Whether it's waiting for the games to be delivered, or waiting for a reprint of a game you missed, or waiting to get the game at the price you want to pay for it, limited run game collecting is all about patience. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, keep playing the game. See you soon.